What's up, everyone, and welcome to Variant, the podcast, the Ahsoka podcast. I feel like it should be dubbed now.
Well, now, at least for the short term.
Dude, the last, 2-3 episodes?
I think this is the 4th episode.
We're basically just talking about it episode by episode every week.
Yeah.
And
it's like normal.
And we
do this. It's what we do, Arris.
It's true. And because of the strikes and everything going on, there's really not been any new movie talk or anything like that.
No, Craven got moved.
I mean, Loki's
that
coming
wasn't supposed to be out yet.
Yeah. Loki's coming out right after Ahsoka. That'll be the next thing we probably talk about week to week.
Yeah. As long as it's good. As long as otherwise we'll skip some and just be like, not much to talk about.
I have high hopes. I mean, the first season was
high hopes? Like, you want to use the word high there?
I mean, the first season is widely regarded as the best Marvel Disney Plus show.
Yes, but a lot has happened between them.
A lot has happened.
So I don't know if we want to use the word high.
I don't know.
I do think it's going to be good.
Everything we've seen, we've gotten 2 trailers, 1 trailer, whatever. It looks good. Looks good.
It looks like it's going to be fun. And Jonathan Majors is back as Kang.
What's going on with Jonathan Majors? Do you know?
I don't know. It's gotten very quiet.
Is he innocent? Is he guilty?
I don't know.
You don't know? I don't know either.
We're supposed to live in a land of innocent until proven guilty. I don't know how much that applies anymore.
I just stopped hearing about it one way or another, so I don't know what was the verdict.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of volleying back and forth, and then it just kind of vanished. Okay. I'm sure there's information out there if you really wanted to chase it. But I don't think either one of us care that much.
I kind of stood away.
Yeah, we just don't care as much. Also, what's up, Variant Nation? How's everybody doing out there? Welcome back to the show.
Because in a world where Filoni is creating Ahsoka, that's all that matters.
I mean, there's other things going on in the world, Arris.
Okay. Just Ahsoka.
I can't think of it right now, but there's other
things. Blue Beetle coming to digital.
Oh yeah, that's the big one.
That's a huge one. Blue Beetle.
I still cannot believe. I mean, I can believe it, but it's still kind of shocking how hard that movie flopped.
It
was as if this movie just took a flying leap.
It passed 100 mil. It finally passed 100 mil.
God, it's so rough.
I think the budget, just the production budget, I think was 101 mil. Yeah. So I can't imagine they didn't put that much promotion into it because the strike and everything happened.
Yeah, the strikes and all that.
Maybe they broke even. Maybe they just broke even.
Dude, it's rough. It's rough. And I feel bad for everybody involved because it was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie. That's the crappiest thing about it.
Not groundbreaking or anything like that. But that's certainly fun.
The fact that it did worse than Green Lantern films that are actually bad is what's so crazy to me because it's not a bad film. It's a good movie. But alas.
I don't know. But alas, indeed.
We got an Aquaman 2 trailer, and that's right.
We did get an Aquaman 2. We didn't talk about that last episode.
We didn't because I don't know about you, but for me, I'm yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Aquaman 2 thing, I didn't even really watch it right away. I found out that it was live.
I watched it 2 or 3 days later.
I actually knew a couple of days that it was going to go live. And then I forgot about it.
Yeah, they made an announcement and everything. Yeah. I was at Disney, so I forgot being at the theme parks, and then I watched it 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah, I watched it a couple days later as well, and I saw it and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it looks like it'll have some fun scenes. I feel like the story is not going to be there, and it's just going to fall apart.
I will say they went out of their way. They worked extra hard to keep Amber Heard away from this trailer.
Wasn't she in one shot?
You see the back of her head. They're sitting on the ground while Aquaman and his dad are doing that. It looked like that Hawaiian ritual dance.
Yeah,
what are they called? The Maka?
I don't know. Haka?
Haka? I think it is the Haka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
The Maka.
Could be wrong. Sorry if that's wrong.
Macarena.
Oh, wow.
I think it's the Haka, though. If it's not, I'm sorry. Neither of us. We're uncultured swine over here.
The cool Hawaiian dance.
Yeah, so they're doing that, but you see it from it's a wide shot, and you see it in a distance, and that's it. The rest is the focus on Aquaman and
what would you want?
His mother is
would
whatever her name is.
Unbelievable.
We're highly educated folk here on Variant Podcast over here at Planet Variant. But now you're looking it up. You're like,
I was right. I was right. Atlanta. You made me double guess myself.
That's what I said at first. Atlanta.
Yeah.
Or Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yes.
Atlantis.
This just in, I got an awesome wing place opening up near my house.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry. As I was looking that up, my wife just sent me a text. We've been waiting for this place. I'm excited.
What wing place?
Wing Snob.
Oh, we got one right by my house.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm excited. Tomorrow's wing time,
good.
baby.
I mean, it's not Pluckers.
It's no.
If anybody lives here in Texas,
I wouldn't.
You know what Pluckers is.
I wouldn't know because I can't compare. I love Pluckers. It's currently my favorite wing place, but I haven't had Wing Snob yet, so I don't know.
Wing Snob is good. The blue cheese needs work, but the wings are
That's
good.
what we derailed completely, but that's what makes Pluckers so good. It's their blue cheese. That's what puts it over the top.
Well, everything.
The wings are good itself. They're nice and crispy, but the blue cheese puts it over the top.
It does. It does. It separates it.
It's kind of like Batman is great. He's an awesome hero, but his villains put him over the top. You know what I mean?
Right. And in this squirrel episode of Variant Podcast, Wing Snob, I'm also getting a Hawaiian restaurant near my house.
Hope it's not Hawaiian Bros.
It's called Mo Betta's.
Okay, because Hawaiian Bros, I don't know if any of you listening have ever eaten Hawaiian Bros. Not good.
A lot of people like Hawaiian Bros.
No bueno.
But you know, in honor of Aquaman, the Aquaman discussion, I'm getting it's a Hawaiian place.
Atlanta, yeah.
Supposedly it's good. Atlanta. These are
welcome to Atlanta where the players play.
Yeah, now we're into hip hop. This is a wild
Biggie, can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me.
You're so musical.
I'm saying.
It really is.
When a man loves a woman.
We're really covering the gamut. Truly. But yeah, Aquaman trailer.
Lonely's a man without love. Engelbert Humperdinck, anybody? Who doesn't like some Humperdinck? Who doesn't like some free? If you don't know who Humperdinck is, that's a real artist. Spotify him. He's got the tunes, guys.
That is absolutely a real person.
Engelbert Humperdinck.
But anytime you say Humperdinck, I think Princess Bride.
What am I talking about?
Humperdinck!
Yeah,
Humperdinck!
No. Everyone listening should know the song because his song was actually used for Moon Knight. The theme for Moon Knight,
true, actually.
That's Engelbert Humperdinck. Lonely's a man without love. Yeah, that's Engelbert or Humperdinck. Fun fact, you know he changed his name? That's not his real name. He changed his name so that people would remember him. Because the name, it's kind of like, how do you forget a name like Humperdinck?
His real name was like Terry Smith.
It was something basic, but he changed his name so people would remember him. And it's like, yeah,
you're telling me you're going
to forget Humperdinck?
No.
Now everyone, if this is the first time you heard of him, you're going to be like, yeah, Humperdinck, that's going to stick with you.
Yeah, that'll stick around.
Okay, this is the last tangent I will go on. This is the last one. But while I was gone,
I doubt it.
Literally, it was like me and my wife, the kids are asleep. We're in our Disney hotel. We were, everyone kind of winds down now by looking at their phone, checking stuff before you go to bed. So I'm just
This is why everybody has insomnia.
Yeah, I was just going through my feeds, whatever. I see that apparently Mexico had a hearing with alien bodies.
Yeah, that did happen while you were gone.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And I'm on my phone. And I go put it on my wife. I'm like, Mexico has alien bodies?
It was incredible.
Yeah,
they went and they broke into Universal lot, the Universal lot in Hollywood. Right? They broke in.
Now you're making fun.
And they mummy wrapped one of the ET dolls.
Tim.
And they
Tim. This is a monumental moment in not American history, in world history. Okay?
At one point, it lifted its arm and its finger turned red, and it went, phone home.
Okay, first of all, they're dead. Second of all, let's copyright for Steven Spielberg. All right? Bless you.
Yo, it's the fall, man. Somebody get rid of this pollen. I am.
Are you sad? Are you sad that there's aliens? Are they going to probe you? You don't want them to probe you?
Pollen makes me sad.
Maybe they use KY. Maybe it won't be that bad.
Oh, God. How dare you, sir?
All I'm saying is they found alien organics, so they claim, and it's just like, but then you hear.
It was the worst.
They were little, too. They were like 3 feet.
So bad. Like, it looked like something you and I would build.
What if the joke's on us and it's actually real? Like,
they said they found it.
We're making fun of it, and it's like, yeah, it's actually real aliens. Those are real.
Do you know what the Nazca lines are?
No.
Okay, so in South America, South Central America, they have these things called the Nazca lines, right? And there are these huge, carved lines into the ground on mountains and fields and things like that. And if you're standing in it, it just looks like these very bizarre lines. But when you go...
This is different than the crop circles.
It's very similar in its effect.
Okay.
Because when you go into the air and you see it from, let's say, 5,000 feet...
Makes a design?
You see it's an actual outline of an animal. like a bird or a lizard.
Oh, I probably have
or a
heard of this.
snake.
I think I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have been, nobody knows where they came from. And there's all kinds of legend around them that they're from extraterrestrials or the gods as the kind of the legend go in the area.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. And they found the aliens supposedly near the Nazca lines. And they're saying that like, oh, and I was like, oh, how coincidental.
I don't know. It's probably, I don't, all I'm saying is it's a matter of time before they come knocking on your door.
They're setting us up for something.
Asking to phone home.
You watch. They're setting us up for something, gang. I don't know what it is
I love how
yet.
this all started with the Aquaman trailer and Amber Heard, and then
It actually started with Ahsoka.
Then it went to Aquaman.
And then it went, well, we attempted to go to Aquaman. And then it went to
There was something
Engelbert
before Aquaman?
Humperdinck.
No, that was after.
Right.
Humperdinck was after.
I said Aquaman, then Engelbert Humperdinck.
Every time I
can't even say his
wake
name.
up, then I start to break up. Lonely's a man without love.
Engelbert Humperdinck is the alien.
Dude, fun fact, me and my oldest daughter get down on that song. Like, she sings the lyrics. Like, she loves it. And Amber, my wife, hates it. So we'll sing it together to her. And she's just like, oh my God, this song again. And it's kind of become a thing. We did it on the car ride home from Disney.
That's
and
it.
it was
That can be
fun.
your father-daughter dance at her wedding.
Yeah, to be fair, it was in retaliation for my wife blaring Sweet Home Alabama as we were driving through Alabama. She was just so much. I got it on video. Like, I got my little daughter, my 3-year-old in the back trying to watch her iPad. She just blares the music and she's starting to cry. She's like, Mommy, I can't hear my iPad. And she's just, Sweet Home Alabama. And it's like, wow.
I feel like every family has a version of this on their road trips. Like, ours is We Have to Play On the Road Again by Willie Nelson.
Oh my God. Yeah.
To kick off
that's a good one.
whenever we're leaving and going home.
On the road again.
That's how we start. And it's like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't feel like we're really on a road trip because we've been doing it for so long.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Aquaman 2 trailer looks
Man.
Yeah.
At this point, I think for everyone, the DCEU stuff is like, let's just get it out. Let's get it out of the way. It might be fun. I don't know, but it looks kind of buddy cop-ish between him and his brother.
Ocean Master.
Thank
Orm.
you. That was,
Hey, look,
that
I
was the
remember-
name. That was the name I was looking for was Orm.
I remember the name today. Look at that.
Yeah, so I think it's very clear also that Warner Brothers is like, no, this movie is coming out. We want to create as much distance between the end of the DCEU and the beginning of
James
the
Gunn
next,
probably
whatever
wants
the
it gone.
next era is
Yeah.
in 2027 when we get the next movie.
Anyway, Tim, Ahsoka
Anyway,
episode 6. Episode 6, I believe it's called Far, Far Away. Is that the name of it?
It is called Far, Far Away, which is right off the bat. That was like kind of the signal that we were going to get into some deep Star Wars.
Spoilers for all of Ahsoka. If you are not current with the first 6 episodes of Ahsoka, spoilers galore. This is your warning to dip. Go watch it and then come back. So,
or don't go watch it and come back. Whatever you want to do.
So proceed with caution as of now.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So give us your take on episode 6. Because I ranted last episode. I ranted off the gate. So you give us your take first.
I absolutely love this episode. I feel like I said last podcast, it was going to be hard to follow up the Clone Wars episode, as I will dub it, where we got Anakin and Ahsoka from the Clone Wars days. And I still didn't think there were 2 completely different episodes. So I feel like for me, it was kind of like comparing, apples to oranges in a lot of ways, where the first one was very much Ahsoka driven, where she wasn't even in this episode much at all. She was in it for like 3 minutes at the beginning. Then you had Anakin, where this episode 6 was very much like story building. There wasn't a lot of action at all.
Yeah.
But still a very solid episode. Obviously, episode 6 still remains, and I know a lot of people listening, as the best episode of this season thus far. But man, episode 5, that is. Episode 6, the most current one as of now, still really the lore building. Like, so since we're doing spoilers, Thrawn, just get right to it. Yeah. Right to it. The whole episode leads up to Thrawn. So
they really kind of get right to it.
They do.
I was surprised. I said last episode that I thought we weren't going to get like Thrawn and Ezra till the end.
I thought so too. I thought they were going to save it for the
like
last episode.
Toward the end. Because
I still stick that whatever they're doing, whatever the big reveal is, we'll get into a second because there's a lot of new theories, especially with Balin in this episode. Whatever they're doing is clearly going to lead right into the Dave Filoni Star Wars movie that was announced this past Star Wars Celebration. But anyway, Thrawn, oh my goodness. they got the same actor who voiced him in Rebels.
Yep.
And it lands so well. I will say, overall, I loved this live action Thrawn, because again, it is the same Thrawn from Rebels, same guy who voiced him. What's his name again?
Lars Mikkelsen.
Lars Mikkelsen, right. It was a little off-putting at first, just because I've never seen live action before, and like, I was like, I'm so used to seeing him in comic books and in animated form. It takes a little while to adjust when you see anything for the first time,
right?
Like live action,
right?
But like as the episode went, and I've already watched the episode 2 times, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is, every time I watch it, I like it more and more. I really like. You said the same thing too. We were talking about it before the podcast. What they did with his red eyes.
Oh,
how
yeah.
they almost look like translucent red marbles, in a sense, where they're just,
and at points they seemingly glow.
They're glowy, they're very glassy. It has it's not just a red contact. It's like clearly they went in post and made, all these cool red changes to his eyes. But besides that, we get a lot of cool info. So first and foremost, when we see Thrawn, if you pay close attention, his clothes are kind of like torn a little bit.
Yep.
His hair, even if you look at his hair, it's a little disheveled. It's not like completely like even on both sides, where in the comics and in the show, he's very well put together, very kept. And he's a little, he's been stranded for a long, long time. But the biggest thing besides just seeing Thrawn there is 2 things. One, he's been working with the Great Mothers, right?
Right.
Which with magic, which has
the
been
Nightsisters, which is also the first introduction of the Nightsisters.
Live action.
In live action.
Yeah. So that was huge, because we see them before with Elsbeth.
Right.
She they finally make their way to the planet. She gets off with Balin and Sabine and all of them. And they were like, yeah, Thrawn's coming. He comes in a starship. They board. And that's where you get the awesome, like, Imperial S march, where you see the army of night troopers, which is another big thing. So we're introduced to a new version. If there's anything Star Wars doesn't lack, it's like new versions of stormtroopers. Like Star Wars, you could always count on Star Wars to give us some sort of new trooper, whether it's a stormtrooper or a clone trooper, whatever. They always give us, new troopers. You got death troopers, sand troopers, clone troopers. Now we got night troopers, purge troopers, all that stuff. So the night troopers are really cool, because I want to touch on that first. That's one of the things I like the most. So when you see them, all these night troopers, you see them, this huge army behind them. You see that their armor's all cracked. It's dirty. Mm-hmm. They've got gold on some of them. The leader, his lieutenant or captain, Enoch, has like literally like a Roman gold faceplate, like gladiator style. Yeah. And they have red cloth tied around their armor as well, which is very reminiscent to the Nightsisters, the Great Mothers. Mm-hmm. And we know from episode 4 that Marok is actually like an undead or animated corpse of sorts.
Right,
He's basically was animated with the magic from the Nightsisters.
Right. So
there he is. Obviously the first thing I thought with that, I'm like, this is a zombie freaking night trooper army.
Very well,
like these are
particularly
probably
because of one statement that Thrawn makes later in the episode.
Yeah, like it's just, first of all, like they got like the red from the Nightsisters. They're called night troopers. Like it just makes all the sense in the world that these would be zombie troopers, essentially. And I think we'll see that in the next or last episode as Ahsoka arrives and Ezra suits up and they start to battle Thrawn. All it's going to take is a lightsaber head to tell us, is that gassy substance going to come out, like for Marok?
Yeah, we already saw it once.
So I think that, and they're called night troopers. Like that just, I don't know. I'm very curious to see like how though, because at the end of the episode, Thrawn says when he finds out Ahsoka's alive and that she's coming, he goes to the Great Mothers and he says, I'm going to need your help again. Yeah. So it's like, what was your help? What was the help the first time? Yeah. Was it your army here?
Well, he specifically references he's going to need your help with the dark magics.
Yeah, the dark magics.
Not magics, the dark magic.
Which goes straight to like, were they the ones who helped him build his army?
Right.
Like that's...
And the fact that they were wrapped in that red cloth in multiple areas, very similar to what we saw with Maul in Rebels and so on. And that's their they're the clothes that they wear, the cloaks or whatever that they wear. It definitely hints at something bigger. And then him saying, we need your help once again. It's like, what is he referring to when he says again? Like what was the first time? Yeah. And there's a lot of things that it could be.
They gotta be zombies. They gotta be. They gotta be. Because even in Star Wars, not in canon, but in Star Wars, the expanded universe, there is like zombie troopers. So I think this is like the canon version of them.
It very well could be. And like you said, we already saw
Legend. I said extended universe. Legend. In Star Wars Legends, there's
yeah,
like zombie
sorry.
troopers. So I think the Night Troopers are the canon version of that.
Very well could be. The one Inquisitor that we saw that he was some sort of a zombie, like a, with the dark magic, some dark.
Oh yeah, the Marok. Yeah.
So it very well could be.
And actually, I just realized this right now. Marok was the Inquisitor.
Marok,
and then the lieutenant or captain for this Night Trooper army of Thrawns is Enoch.
Right.
Marok, Enoch. Coincidence? I think not.
Well, I mean, what do you think the correlation there is?
I think it's kind of just like
Enoch is a biblical reference.
Marok is also a biblical reference, if I memory serves me correctly. I remember that going around. Marok is a deity of some sort. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just.
Are you thinking of Moloch?
No, Marok. Like it's here. I'm just gonna Google it so I don't say the wrong things.
I do know that the Nightsisters were named after the Greek the Fates from Greek mythology. The Sisters of the Faith. I can't remember their exact name in the Greek mythology, but they're named after the Fates in the Greek mythology. And so even their makeup, their outfits and stuff like that have similar references to the Greek mythology for each individual one of the Fates. So I thought that was a cool reference, but he's digging deep, Dave Filoni, just kind of across the board. This episode, even more. I said last time that I felt like he really showed off in episode 5, but episode 6.
So Sir Marok, A Tale of the Days of King Arthur by Alan French.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's in the Bible.
No, not the Bible, but it's he did pull.
Moloch is a deity in the Bible.
Yeah,
it's a demonic deity.
But he did pull from iconic kind of Greek mythology.
Type deal. And that's my point that I'm making now is, he with episode 6, like he showed off a bunch in episode 5, his grasp of Star Wars story, the Star Wars overall story arcs.
I won't fight you.
Episode 6, yeah.
I've heard that before. It's the best line because when you realize what he's referencing, it's the coolest thing.
Just wild how much he ties in. But episode 6, I felt like he dwarfed even what he did in episode 5 because he didn't just blow the doors off and tie so many things together throughout Star Wars mythology, including things that he built himself in Clone Wars and Rebels, and then tie them in with broader Star Wars legends.
Wait, going back to Marok. Marok is an honorable knight who serves King Arthur. So yeah.
That makes sense because he looked like a knight.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. So I do like how he's pulling from,
He's pulling from a lot of mythologies.
Yeah.
So he's getting, Greek mythology is not surprising because that's what George Lucas did.
Yeah.
George Lucas drew from a ton of Greek mythology to build Star Wars. But he's pulling from, like with Enoch. Enoch is a biblical character that was one of 2 human beings to be taken in by God as a human. They didn't die. Enoch and Elijah. So he's one of 2. He's one of the 2, and he's like this very serious biblical figure.
So is Enoch the only actual human in his army?
It could be. I also think it's
which is why he's the leader.
I also think it's very interesting if you look at his mask. It's not just gold. It almost has, because that's the other thing, and this is why it's so crazy what Dave Filoni does. George Lucas did it too, but it's so crazy what these guys. Dave Filoni took what George Lucas did and he just like put it on steroids in some ways in terms of integrating like samurai elements of like the samurai culture and lore, and then Greek mythology, and in this case medieval mythology, and all kinds of stuff. And with the Enoch's mask, it's not just gold, like almost like you see in Gladiator, or like Roman times. It's very similar. It has cracks through it, and it has the gold inlaid in the cracks, like that Japanese art katsugi. So it's very similar. It has that, so it's almost like he's tying in like Japanese.
What I thought was interesting is his helmet it looks to be a modified Phase 2 Purge Trooper helmet. If you look at the design, like it's very different from, because all the other people from the Night Troopers have like the standard Stormtrooper helmet, where his it's kind of like comes down. If everyone knows the Phase 2 Purge Troopers, which were introduced in Obi-Wan, how like it's very distinct and flat when it comes down to the mouth chin area. So it looks like he's wearing a modified, again, Phase 2 Purge Trooper helmet with that gold, like gladiator-esque faceplate. So another reason why something is different from something's different with him than the other night troopers. Like he
Definitely.
is the only human, and everyone else is like reanimated or like the
I just
undead.
thought it was a cool. I didn't, I don't know where he's going with it. I definitely think that it's possible that the rest of the stormtroopers are the
night troopers.
It could be like the night troopers. But with him, I thought it was a cool reference because again, Enoch in the Bible is a character that is very close to God. He gets pulled into heaven. He's allowed to come into heaven, into God's domain, because of his loyalty to God. And I thought like he's Thrawn's right hand. So I just thought it was like a cool reference that he's like, this is Thrawn's right hand. He's, and because they view Thrawn as almost like a god.
Yeah, it's
like they're chanting his name and the whole thing.
Thrawn, oh my God, I was telling this to you before. Thrawn is such a good villain. I was saying this when I finished Rebels like a while ago. Because I finished Rebels at the beginning of this year to make sure I was caught up for this series actually. And when I finished Rebels, like, I've read Thrawn in the comic books and novels and stuff, but like seeing him in like, not live action, but seeing him like, in 3D form, like actually like animated, with the voice actor and stuff like that. Right. And now live action, it's just like, you really see like he's such a threatening, cool villain because of just how calm he's like that. He's that villain that is so calm. You're like, what do you know that I don't know?
Yeah.
Like you're scary because you shouldn't be this calm right now.
He kind of he has a little bit of like Hannibal Lecter to him.
It's great. Yes, for sure. Where he's kind of like Batman or Lex Luthor in the sense that he's always 5-10 steps ahead of someone. Yes. Like even in this episode, you see one of my favorite things in this episode is when, they find out that they brought a Jedi, Sabine, and he's like, Sabine. And then he has them bring her out and he's like, there's a familiar face. And that the whole thing where he finds out that she gave up the coordinates to find him and get them there to get him out because she wants Ezra.
Right.
And like, he basically says something to the effect is like, you risked the whole galaxy in the hopes that your friend was alive. And then she says, that's something you wouldn't know about. And it kind of pisses him off because she's basically around about saying like, you're not loyal to anyone. You don't know about love or anything like that. And and you just see that little switch where he's like, just wait. Like he literally, his look says that without saying
it's just pretty great.
Just wait.
Yeah. The look he gives her is pretty intense. He's great pretty much throughout. His look is a little off-putting for me in terms of like the blue makeup and the hair. It's a little bit.
The one thing I was saying to you is very nitpicky because his performance is fantastic. And I even am, the more I've watched the episode twice already, the more I watch, the more I'm like, nah, the look's sticking with me because he's just owning the character. And when someone really owns the character, it's like, no, that's just the character. You're the character. So it's just like, that's him. But again, coming from the comics and Rebels in there, Thrawn is always perceived as more as like a physically fit, kind of more upright dude where, is it Mads again? I keep forgetting his name. Lars Mikkelsen. He's a little older. He's a little older gentleman. So he's, you could tell body language a little bit that he's a little older, where I'm used to, animation again, comics, seeing him a little younger, but that's like a small nitpick because it still works. And this is like, you could argue that this is like a long time after the fact. So he has aged a bit and stuff like that. And he's like been stranded. So like, he's a little rough around the edges. Again, it was very purposeful on Filoni's part that his garb was like a little torn up. His hair was a little, not quite completely perfect. You see, it's a little.
He wasn't all the way together.
Yeah, you see it's a little asymmetrical. Like he couldn't, get it right all the way because he's been stranded. So it works for me. It's a very nitpicky and a minor complaint. But again, the more I watch it, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be good.
Did you notice the colors when at the beginning? This is a total sidestep. But at the beginning of the episode, when they see, well, it's not quite the beginning, but when you see the Purgles coming through, when they were traveling through hyperspace.
I've never seen hyperspace look like that before.
It was a totally different
It was like rainbowy
than we've ever seen, which I thought was such a cool ad by Filoni, differentiating this is a different level of hyperspace travel, traveling intergalactically, rather than, or not intergalactically, extragalactically, where they're it's this, we're going to a totally different place, and him differentiating that by adding these color streaks, changing the rotation of the hyperspace tunnel and that sort of thing. And it also There's also, do you remember the scene in Mandalorian
With Grogu?
in chapter 17 where they're traveling in through hyperspace and he looks out the window and he
Mhm.
sees the Purgles?
Yeah, Grogu. Yeah.
Yeah. So it when they were passing through that, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Well, a lot of people are saying because they have both shows are happening.
Yeah,
at the
I
same
saw
time.
some people were asking, like, I wonder if it's parallel.
Yeah, exactly. That's just, that was Grogu's side while, Ahsoka was off doing this. It's very
Yeah.
possible. I mean, Filoni has his hands heavily involved with Mandalorian
I don't
as well.
see how that could work, though, considering where they were traveling, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because it didn't look, from Grogu's point of view, the hyperspace looked normal, like the stereotypical.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it
was a cool reference.
It's a cool
anyway.
reference. Could be possible considering Filoni, isn't, co-created or heavily involved with Mandalorian as well.
Do you think we'll see Mandalorian appear?
I don't think in this season. Definitely in the movie with it, just because it's all going to lead to Filoni's movie.
Yeah.
Definitely in that. I think we're gonna get everyone in the movie. I think we're gonna get Boba. We're gonna
all come together.
Yeah, we're gonna get Fennec. We're gonna get Mando. Everybody. Maybe that's when they introduce Cal Kestis.
Maybe so.
That would be a good pull.
Could be.
Like drop them in there.
Well, they didn't. As far as like Cal Kestis goes, it doesn't. I mean, if you played what is it? What's the name of the game?
Fallen Order is the first.
Fallen Order
is the
thank
first one.
you.
Survivor's the second one.
Fallen Order. In Fallen Order, a huge part of the game is dealing with the Nightsisters and going to what's the name?
Dathomir.
Dathomir. Thank you. But in this episode, in episode 6, is the first time that we learn that Dathomir and its inhabitants, the Nightsisters and everything like that, they weren't from Dathomir.
Yeah.
That the Dathomiri they traveled to Dathomir and they inhabited that island and they colonized it, but they traveled from Peridia.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, that was the big portions of this episode. And again, all the things that you already mentioned and we already talked about, he tied in so many different things into this episode. There's so many references to things that happen in Clone Wars and Rebels and throughout the entirety of the Star Wars episodes. But even when we were in the ship with Hu Yang and Ahsoka.
I love Hu Yang.
He's so great.
Like I liked him since his introduction in Clone Wars, but seeing him in this series, he's becoming one of my favorite droids in Star Wars.
And the fact that he's voiced by David Tennant
that's kind of, yes, that's what, it's just all of it.
Yeah.
But that is a big part. Like
really,
the delivery, the sarcasm. I love how he's always making fun of Sabine Wren. It's just kind of funny.
I don't know about you, but I feel like he is probably the most human feeling droid that we've ever gotten in Star Wars. He has the most like emotion of any droid. Like you sense like a human element.
Well, that part in
far more than like C-3PO
is the beginning of episode 5 where he's holding Sabine Wren's helmet and he's like, I told them to stick together.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was
he's
great.
like almost like this father figure.
And he's the guy he's the droid who like freaking teaches Padawans how to make lightsabers. Like he's a lightsaber droid.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's really, really good. And I mean, Star Wars has just always been brilliant in how they present their droids and how they make them so endearing.
For sure. Because even say what you will about the sequel trilogy, BB-8 is still a cool droid.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
But Hu Yang, I think, is probably the most humanly relatable of all the droids for me anyway. But anyway, so when they're traveling in the starship.
Is R2 still your favorite though?
Yeah, but that's nostalgia.
We got to do an episode because there's so, I mean, you got BB-8, you got R2, BD-1, C-3PO, you got Hu Yang. There's so many.
You could go on for a while.
R5,
That's a good competition though. There's a lot of good ones. But when they're traveling the starship and Ahsoka, they're talking about, Sabine and what had happened. And she finally tells him like she willfully went with Elsbeth and Morgan or whatever. Not Morgan. What's the other guy's name? Balin, right. She tells him that she willfully went with them. And so that's when she starts saying some stuff and he's like, that's your fear.
Yeah.
And then she's like, tell me a story.
Right?
Yeah. And he references stories. Does he say episode 1, 2, and 3?
He says chapters, but it's 1, 2, 3.
It's like whatever it is,
Yeah.
he references 1, 2, and 3. And she says, yeah, 1's of course the best. And it's like, which ones are they talking about? It's like, it was like this moment where it's like, are they referencing?
Do you think it was very meta, like on purpose?
Yeah, it was like, are you referencing the movies inside the show?
But if so, 1 is not the best. Everyone knows that Empire is the best.
Yeah, so it's like, are you referencing episodes or chronologically? Because that would be A New Hope.
Although New
don't
Hope
know.
is good. I like them all, but
Yeah.
like
Anyway,
it's Empire though.
so, but he starts to talk about in a galaxy far, far. He says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which is the first time any character has actually said that in a Star Wars movie. But that is the line that we're all familiar with. It started off the entire franchise with that famous scroll in the very first movie, and we've gotten it 1,000 times since then. But
1,000? That's a lot.
yeah,
That's a lot of
no,
times.
that's an actual number.
That's crazy.
So, but he says that in reference to this broader story about the Force and the beginnings of the Jedi and so forth, and stories that they would teach and tell the children in the Jedi Temple. And then later on, when we're back and we're in Peridia, you know, and this is kind of a continuation of the storyline when it comes to Balin, where he's been referencing this thing that he's after.
Yeah.
He's looking for something. He's going on this journey with Elsbeth for this particular power that he's seeking. And when he gets
the One
there,
Ring
to rule them all. Speaking of the actual tower, tell me that did not look like Minas Tirith.
You think that was on purpose?
Yes. He's been freaking referencing Lord of the Rings for the last 2 episodes.
What are you talking about?
Oh my
Ahsoka
God.
the White is not based off of Gandalf
So
the
good.
White.
I'm telling you, he is tying in so much different mythology. It's crazy.
What's better, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
No, get out of here.
No,
Get
sorry.
out of here. No.
When your people are ripping off your stories, you're the better story.
That's not necessarily true.
Yes, it's
A lot of the times, the second generation or the competition is that better.
Do you
than
know
the
how
original.
many people are building off of the Lord of the Rings?
How many people?
A lot.
1,000.
A lot of storytellers. A lot of modern fiction is built off of the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, including Harry Potter.
Which is better?
That was like a
Harry
that
Potter's
was-
better. I've said
that
it right
was
here.
like a mystical whisper in the background.
Hot take: Harry Potter is better than Lord of the
That
Rings.
is the most millennial thing anyone could possibly say. Just a
I
general.
bet you there's a bunch of people
hard
listening that agree.
disagree. Yeah, but that's going to be this for the same reason. They grew up on it.
Don't matter.
Incorrect.
Don't matter.
I'm going to say it incorrect.
Don't matter. So you're saying only the old people
No.
are like Lord of the Rings?
No, just people that have good taste.
Now you're contradicting yourself.
No, and Lord of the Rings it's very different. Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings is a total sidestep again, but Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, they're different, but Harry Potter stole.
Actually, there's an
like half of
argument
its
to be
universe.
made that Harry Potter is actually a complete ripoff of Star Wars.
That's because Star Wars took a lot from Lord of the Rings.
But like even more so, I don't know, because like there's the whole breakdown where you have like the one like little orphan kid, Harry Potter, Luke, and then you know
The
he goes,
same comparisons have been made.
Then this
to-
wizard trains him, Obi-Wan, Gandalf, and like you know he's like the chosen one and all.
A
that
lot
stuff.
of it, in reality, the truth is that a lot of it has to do with the hero's journey.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, these are classical fiction tropes. So,
Well, it's that
and
story.
we won't
I
go
say-
down like this whole rabbit trail, but yeah,
I say it all the
there's-
time. There's only like really,
You find these same things in Greek mythology.
well, yeah. There's like I think if you go to like story school, film school, whatever, they tell you there's only like really 3 different stories to tell.
Yeah.
you could switch it up, but there's only like 3 actual routes you can go, and you got to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not quite 3. I don't agree with that.
Oh, you're fighting the Juilliard professor.
Juilliard professor. I will gladly fight a Juilliard professor. But yeah, so
You're like, I got a doctorate.
I don't need a doctorate to be smart. Okay.
It's true. We got Google.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Soon we're going to be implanted with chips. Everybody's going to be a doctor.
Speaking of, you see, this is a tangent again. It's the last tangent I'll do. Probably not. I'm lying. The creator, that movie that everyone's talking about, Chips, creator, like the robots. Everyone's freaking out about
Chips creator.
the movie, the creator.
Oh, creator. Yeah.
Everyone's freaking out about this film.
In a good way or a bad way?
A good way.
I think it looks amazing. I
Yeah,
haven't
people
seen it.
are saying
Is it
it's early reviews are coming out, and people
Oh.
are saying like this is one of the best like sci-fi films in a very long time.
Well, you know who made it?
No,
It's Gareth Edwards.
oh, that kind of makes sense.
Rogue
then.
One.
Rogue One is one of the. Rogue One is the best recent Star
From a
Wars movie.
quality standpoint, it's one of the best Star Wars movies ever made.
Rogue One?
Yep.
Yeah, Rogue One's fantastic.
Yep.
That was but why was it fantastic? Why was it? Because it stayed true to the original legacy.
And it had Darth Vader in it.
Darth Vader. It's hot, dude. It's whatever. One of these things is not like the
Well,
other.
going back to the original point, so when we get to Balin, am I saying his name right? Balin?
Balin Skull.
Balin Skull. See, I got one.
SKOOL. I'm not so no. SKOLL.
So he's searching for him when he's back in Peridia. When they get there, They go through kind of all this stuff. You know, we meet Thrawn and, you know, the introduction of the Nightsisters, and they have their interactions in this whole thing.
The great
And
mothers.
then Thrawn, they set Sabine free to go look for Ezra because Balin had made that promise. That was his deal with her.
And then
Thrawn's
Thrawn's like,
I'm going to honor it. I'm going to let you go.
or is he?
Yeah. They give her some really cool outfit for some reason. Don't know where they got
Well,
that
that was her
from.
Mandalorian. They just gave her like a cape. That was her armor.
No, she changed her whole outfit.
No, that
she
was
was wearing like a blue jumpsuit, and then she cuts to, and she's about to get on the thing, and she's got like all this black, like she's got a black suit on, and she's got a little cape.
I'm pretty sure that was just her
They give her
Mandalorian
guns
armor.
back.
Yeah, it was just her Mandalorian armor with like
Bro.
a cape.
I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, why would she change her clothes?
I don't think she did though. The blues jumpsuit, yes, but I think they just gave her armor back.
I'm pretty sure she completely changed.
Are you sure?
No, but I felt like it.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, but the point is, they give her this
Are you
really
positive? Not at all. But I'm sticking to it.
allergy medication is something else. So they give her a horse dog, which is really cool. What do they call the horse dog?
I don't remember.
What's the name of the horse dog?
I don't know.
You're supposed to know these things.
No, I believe that's the first. I mean, I'm speaking out of my butt here, but I think that's the first time we've ever seen this creature.
You know who else speaks out of their butt? Ace Ventura.
Would you like some banaka? I thought that was the funniest thing as a kid.
That was
I
hilarious.
was like, you got it, butt naka, like butt, you get it.
So she gets a horse dog who apparently becomes like her bestie. And then she goes off looking for Ezra.
And meets the turtle people.
And meets the turtle people. What's the name of the turtle people?
The turtle people.
No, they give them a name.
Yeah, the turtle people.
I don't remember their name.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah. They're cool little turtle people. Are they turtles or crabs? Because it looks like crabs. I don't think it's turtles. I think they're supposed to be like shell crabs.
I'm sure they have a name. I don't know since this is the first time we've seen them.
I just can't. I heard it, but I can't remember.
Did they say it in the episode?
I know everyone's shocked.
Did they say their name in the episode?
I think they said it in the name. I read it afterward.
Oh, I don't think they said it in the episode.
I don't know if they did. Either way, the point is that after she leaves, Thrawn sends Balin and what do you call her? The baddie? Shin baddie?
Oh, Shin baddie. No,
Shin
the
Hattie.
internet has dubbed her Shin baddie because
Shin baddie?
everyone's swooning over her. So she's Shin Hattie, but everyone's like, no, she's Shin baddie.
So stupid.
It's like, I will go to the dark side.
Wow.
Take me to the dark side.
Good Lord. So Balin and Shin Hattie go looking. He tells them go and basically follow her. If she finds Ezra, destroy them both. So, but when they're out looking for or following her, they have conversations, and Balin proceeds to say, he basically says, "I'm not here." She's like, "What if they leave us?" Basically, I don't want to get stranded here. And which is exactly what they plan on doing, by the way. Thrawn, after they leave, Thrawn's just like, yeah, whether they come back or not, it's irrelevant to us and our mission. And but Balin knows this full well, and he tells her, like, I don't care. And he starts talking about the cycle of light and dark, and looking at history and how there's this endless cycle of war, death and destruction, the rise of the light side and then the rise of the dark side, and how it just leads to death and destruction and endless war, and that he's seeking the beginning of the power that started that cycle, and that there's something in Peridia that is the source of the beginning, and that's what he's seeking. He says, something is calling to me. Can't you hear it?
Yeah,
and
he's clearly there for, bigger reasons. He's been alluding to that for the last 2 episodes.
And he basically says, like, let them have this power. It's fleeting. Like it's just the same. It's worth nothing. They can have it. Like they're just seeking power and control. And that's not going to get us anywhere than the next stage of the same cycle. And so he's referencing this beginning, and they had already.
I Googled this. I've been Googling. So it seems like there's not an official name for them yet. The people are just calling them the crab turtle people. So at the time of shooting this, it seems like we have not been given an official name of these cute little crab turtle things.
I feel like
because the reason why we're not familiar is because what I assumed is this is their first appearance. This is Dave Filoni created them for this show. So they are new aliens to the Star Wars universe.
I'm going to look and see if I'm on IMDb to see if there's one of the little voices, because one of them talks a lot.
But anyway, while you do that, going off the Balin thing, also in that conversation that he's having with Shin Baddie, is the fact that she asked about like Ezra and like Cal Kestis, basically Jedis that were trained after Order 66 now have an official term. As he calls them, they are Boken Jedi. So any Jedi that was trained after Order 66 is a Boken Jedi.
Like not whole Jedi, they're Boken.
You're an idiot.
Right? Right? Am I right? Do I win?
It's like
that's a Boken Jedi.
You sound like a 3-year-old.
He's not Fist. He's a Boken Jedi. It's so stupid.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. This is why you don't take drugs before going on the camera.
Oh my God. That
Or
is so funny.
know.
That's literally like this. I just picturing this little 3-year-old named Thomas going, "That's a Boken."
That's
Jedi.
exactly what I hear. As soon as you said it, that's what I saw. I saw a little kid going,
or like Tweety,
let's call it a Boken Jedi.
Or like Tweety Bird. I thought I saw a pooty cat. No, but yeah, Boken, Bokken, Jedi. So that's really cool because we've gotten, because of the games and expansion through the comics and stuff, the Marvel comics with Star Wars and stuff like that. We've had several characters in Jedi that were trained or, came up after Order 66, like Ezra, like Cal. So now we know those Jedi are Boken, not broken.
Are you sure?
But I thought that was cool. It was
cool.
It's all these little things we're getting more like,
I wonder if that's referencing also something else in Samurai.
It's kind of similar to the name of a character I co-created, Koken.
Yeah.
Which is of
right.
Japanese lore, Koken, Boken. So maybe.
It's Boken Koken.
Boken Koken. Koken is Boken.
This show is getting so stupid.
I wonder, like, maybe, let's just Google the term Boken.
Yeah. I mean, so many of the other references that he's making are direct references of some existing mythology in the real world. A
Boken is a wooden sword used as a practice weapon in Kendo.
Yeah. Well, he talks about that they train with that because they weren't in the Jedi Temple, so they had to. They were referencing what we saw Sabine and Ahsoka train with.
It's a Japanese
on the ship at the beginning of the series.
So it is Japanese, just like Koken, hence Koken, Boken. It's a Japanese wooden sword used for training in ninjutsu.
Look at that.
And stuff like that, Kendo.
We're a little bit more enlightened. Look at us gaining culture, right? We're getting cultured right here.
That's pretty cool, though. But anyway, it's cool to have that term. So that means, like, if Sabine does become a Jedi, she will be a Boken Jedi. If Jason, Hera's son, and Kanan's son becomes a Jedi, he will also be Boken. So it's almost like he said this to establish the new era of Jedi. That would also mean that also would mean every Jedi that Luke was training at his temple with Kylo Ren and all that stuff would fall under the Boken.
The Boken Jedi.
Stop. Okay. Stop it. I didn't name it. Okay. This is Filoni.
Well, it could be, he's just making a very simple addition, and it's not that, it's not that big of a deal.
Rey, she's Boken.
She is Boken. The whole trilogy is Boken. But again, so throughout Clone Wars and throughout Rebels, Dave Filoni did a lot.
Can I tell you something real quick?
I can't wait.
In Rise of the Resistance? I just went on it last week, the Rise of the Resistance. In one of the first parts.
What's Rise of the Resistance?
Star Wars Rise of the Resistance.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
That ride. When you go in there and BB-8 and Rey talks to a hologram?
Yes.
Yeah. I expected my daughter to freak out over Rey, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. No, not one bit. She was like, BB-8. BB-8's awesome.
Yeah, forget the actual hologram person.
Yeah, she's like, no, she's like, what's that little robot next to him? He's adorable. Or next to her.
That's hilarious.
Adorable. Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Because that's a cool scene because it's actually a hologram.
It is a hologram, but it's a
life-size hologram of Rey.
But it's also a life-size actual droid of BB-8.
BB-8 that comes out.
And she was just like, that's adorable.
like Ella said when she saw Pluto.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's adorable.
He's adorable. He's so fluffy. My best part is that when he gets here, I don't know, you saw the whole video. When he gets to our table, because we went to Chef Mickey's right there, and he's starting to sign stuff, she goes, I was looking for you.
Yeah, I saw. I pulled out, I don't know if you saw it, but I pulled out the clip of her just going, oh, that's adorable. Oh, yeah. I just have them all on my phone. I'm just using it now. It's like that's a daily watch.
I was looking for you.
It just makes each day a little bit better.
So good. Good.
But yeah, what was I saying? I was saying something. Oh, so Dave Filoni throughout Clone Wars and Rebels he has added so many different things to the overall mythology. And he's built stuff out, he's added new things and all this kind of stuff. But now what he's doing with Ahsoka, it opens up, first of all, obviously the addition of this, the ability to travel to another galaxy, that another galaxy even exists. Now referencing this far, far away in a galaxy far, far away, as if the real origins of things are not in the galaxy that we're all familiar with in Star Wars. The real origins of the Force, of the Jedi, because he says it's outside of time. It was before, or was it Morgan Elsbeth that says this? Somebody makes the comment that it is Morgan Elsbeth. She's talking about that her people, how her pee-pee,
her pee-pee?
Her pee-pee.
Her pee-pee.
Yeah, her pee-pee come.
Oh, okay. She's got tinkle. She's got to go pee-pee. Like her pee-pee,
I swear it's over the counter.
Like yellow liquid pee-pee, or like where you tell your little kid to stop touching his pee-pee?
Things have really gone off the rails.
Hey, don't touch your pee-pee.
You're going to go blind.
Was it a worry stone? Come on. Did you ever, because I have 2 girls, you had 2 boys. Was that ever a thing where you're like, hey, knock that off?
Oh, of course. Like every boy, yeah. But they just like, it's like a toy.
Yeah, so because they don't know. They're just like, what is this thing?
Yeah. Like they'll do that. They just like flick at it.
Yeah.
And stuff. You're like, what are you trying to do? You're going to need that.
Yeah, so rip
you
it
gotta
off.
pee. That's how a lot of things happen.
A lot of things. Oh my God. That was the most like wholesome way you could have phrased that. That was the best PG, like kid-friendly way to put that. That is, you said so much with saying so little. Like in one sentence, you said so much.
You've been a dad a long time. You got to find creative ways to say a lot of things.
You're going to need that. All right.
I don't even know what my point was anymore. I had one. So when she's explaining like that all these things transpired, that her people traveled to
not her people.
The name of the not her people. Like they traveled to the name of the planet is
Dothamir.
They inhabited Dothamir from Peridia. And that but it was before the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Or time counted, or
well,
however she worded
says
it.
in the ship before time was counted, is what she said.
Yes, before time was counted.
Yes.
Right?
Which is kind of crazy.
It's so wild. And so he's adding this stuff. So it opens this doorway that goes well beyond and maybe starts really tapping into where we're going to get a lot more information about some other characters that he introduced in Rebels and Clone Wars, particularly Rebels, I would say. The name of that Force-centric beast.
Mortis?
No. The Mortis too, but also, does he look like a giant ox? Badu? Is it Badu?
Oh, from Rebels.
Yeah, Rebels.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, I forgot his name, but I know what you're talking about.
And he was kind of neutral. He helped both the Sith.
Kanan
and
went
the
to
Jedi.
him for advice and all that stuff.
Yeah. He approached Maul, stuff like that. But also the priestesses in the Wellspring of Life that you see Yoda go to. I believe it was in Clone Wars.
I'm still looking for the Bendu. Yep.
I was on the right.
You were in the ballpark.
I was in the ballpark. Was it in Clone Wars where Yoda traveled to the Wellspring of Life and met the 5 priestesses?
Where he met Darth Bane and stuff like that? Where he went into the Sith temple?
He was tested.
Yeah, that was Clone Wars, yes.
It was Clone Wars.
Yes.
Okay, I'm remembering.
Bendu was a male Force-sensitive entity who resided on the remote planet of Atollon and claimed to represent the center of the Force between the light side and the dark side.
Right. So very similarly to the 3 gods of Mortis, right? You have the goddesses, the 5 goddesses from the Wellspring of Life. And he introduced a lot of these elements that are about like the birthplace of the Force or the origins of the midichlorians, things like that. So he introduced a lot of that stuff, but there wasn't like a complete picture of like, well, where did all of that come from? Where did all of that start? Where did all this begin? And now we're going to, it seems like, especially regarding what Skull is talking about, he's looking for the origins and the beginnings of all of it.
Well,
whole smash.
He's basically seems like he's fed up. Like Order 66 ruined him essentially.
Completely.
Like he hates the fact that like it's constantly like Much like kind of like real life where things always switch. They go up
No,
and down. They're
that's
over
what
here, they're over
Yeah.
there. So he hates like the motion of just like the universe and life where like these people have power now, these people have power. These people, he just
Yep.
is like, nope, I want to go to the root and stop it all.
Yep.
So what is that root though is the question, right? So what is, because they keep, he alluded to it more that there is something, and he even, so much so he says that Thrawn and the Great Mothers want to get off this dang planet because
As
of
if
whatever's
they're
here.
He asks the question, he's, are they
you
running from
right.
something?
Like they're kind of teasing it though.
Are they fearful of a power greater than theirs?
Right, but because Thrawn even says to Sabine, when he's like, I'll let you go find Ezra, but know this, when my starship leaves, you stuck, girl.
When my boat hits the water.
Yeah, you are stuck. So you're stuck with whatever's here. So whether it's the nomads, marauders, whatever the freak is out there that Balin wants, I'm very, what if it is Mortis? What if that's like he's there?
There could be so many different things, but I'm wondering, because I saw one person pose the idea a while ago. What if the Nightsisters were like either cast-offs from the wellspring of life? And they were part of the priestesses of the wellspring of life that were either they went into rebellion or they tried to, very similar to the story of God and the devil. You know what I mean? Like the heavenly forces versus those that have rebelled against God.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to that. Like what if he's going to pull off of that and make it to where like the Nightsisters and the dark magic are those who rebelled against the light side of the force, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Right. In the very beginning. So it could be that he's looking for, what he's sensing, because he's saying something is calling to him, is maybe it's the priestesses and the wellspring of life, or the beginnings, the origins of that. But in Rebels, we see that, or not in Rebels and Clone Wars, we see that as its own planet. But it's not Peridia.
No.
So there's just so many different ways that he could go. But the one thing that really stuck out to me is like he's like beyond the things that he did with Rebels and Clone Wars, he's adding to Star Wars mythology now in a way that it goes way beyond what George Lucas presented to the fan base. I mean, right?
He's
between Clone Wars, Rebels, and now what he's doing with Mandalorian and Ahsoka, like the stuff that he has done to expand Star Wars within canon. Like Legends did a lot of stuff.
I was going to say Legends did some work.
Yeah.
And like Legends did a lot.
And to be fair, before Disney, it was no Legends in canon. It was just all Star Wars stories.
Yes.
And George Lucas kind of was
pre-Disney,
I like it all.
There's a lot. I mean, Thrawn alone was added after the fact.
Right.
So like
Heir of the Empire and all of that.
Yeah. So there was a lot done in the novels and Dark Horse comic books that when Disney acquired, they're like, nah. And they just kept the movies and then went forward.
For sure.
So,
but within canon and under Disney, like he has done
he brought
work.
Filoni's also responsible for bringing Thrawn from Legends to canon. So
without
like,
question.
At least live action. I know the comics did that a while ago and gave us the origin of Thrawn. But for live action, he's bringing a lot of the coolest stuff in from Legends into Star Wars canon because he knows what's up.
I just was genuinely shocked in episode 6. I was genuinely shocked how many things he did in one episode from a mythology standpoint. Like this is the other thing I thought. I was like, if you're not like a die-hard Star Wars fan, like I kind of feel like he's only making this for people who really
this is kind of what,
because there was so many elements that you would get and be like, oh, that's cool. But you really are not going to get.
This is kind of why I said to you, I think I said to you on the podcast, like on episode 4, because episode 4 is where he's really started to ramp.
Yes, for sure.
4, 5, and 6. Yes. That's why I said, because you hadn't watched it yet. So I was being spoiler free. We were talking about it. I was telling him, I'm like, I feel like if people who don't like this just aren't massive Star Wars fans. I'm like, because I said to you, I was like, if you consider yourself a big Star Wars fan, I can't see you at least like liking it. Like, there's no way, because it's like, this is almost the most pure form of Star Wars since Lucas.
Yeah. If you've been following Star Wars all the way through and you have like any form of like a real interest in Star Wars lore and the mythology that builds out the stories, literally he slaps you with something new. It was like every other scene.
It was great.
It was something new every other scene where he was either referencing something that he had just done, they had just done in Mandalorian, or referencing Clone Wars or Rebels or one of the episodes.
So much happened. So they introduced Thrawn, first time live action. We get brand new stormtroopers and night troopers. We see the Great Mothers or the Nightsisters for the first time. We finally get the introduction of Ezra, and Balin is alluding to this other greater power that's out there. So like that's all one episode.
Yeah, that's the introduction of this new form of hyperspace travel.
So crazy.
The introduction of this new galaxy, which they started doing from the beginning, but we got to see it for the first time. They talked about how this is where the Purgles go to die. They talk.
You see their skeletons.
It's a graveyard that they travel there.
Like a Saturn ring,
and it becomes a ring around the planet. But they allude in this episode. I
want a Purgle pillow.
I'll get you that, buddy.
Dude,
get you one for Christmas.
Please do.
But they allude to Peridia being like this really, really important place for the origins of the Star Wars galaxy that we're all familiar with. I mean, it's just one thing after the next. Even the fact, the detail, the attention to detail was crazy. Crazy. Even down to the fact that like the tower, when they get there and they find the Nightsisters, right? What do they call them? They're Nightsisters, but they call them
Great Mothers.
The Great Mothers. Thank you. When they get there, the tower that they're on is like a less destroyed version of the ritual site that they were on in episode 4 and 5.
Oh yeah, where they were doing the map.
Yeah, where they were doing the star map, and it was the same exact structure, almost like, and because Dave Filoni was almost like he was pulling from the concept of like places like Stonehenge and things like this, where these ritualistic sites, and the concept is that these are portals to places just like it somewhere else, whether that be in a different planet or different galaxy or alternate dimension. And he was almost like he was pulling from that because they were identical replicas. It's just the one that they were on in Peridia was complete. It wasn't ruins. It was a complete ritual site. And the one that they were on, and I can't remember the planet they were on, was ruins essentially, but it was the same structure.
Talking about the original planet with all the red trees.
Yeah. What was the name of the planet?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either. But the point is that so much attention to detail. It just from start to finish of this episode, and there were so many things. It was Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg, and then new reveal after new reveal after new reveal. And a lot of them, it was really like the fan service to diehard Star Wars fans was just all over this.
I'm just excited for the next episode because you would have to assume that Ahsoka is going to get there next episode.
Oh, well, yeah, she kind of was arriving.
That's what I'm saying.
Right at the end.
And it literally ends with Thrawn waiting her arrival. So like
Sabine just finds Ezra. We finally meet Ezra at the end.
Are they gonna fight? Like I would imagine like the next episode is gonna be arriving or looking for Sabine, eventually meeting up with Sabine and Ezra. Then by the end of the episode, it sets up for those three to confront Thrawn for the finale of the season.
I have to imagine that this next episode is also going to follow Balin Skull and his apprentice in their
Shin Batty.
Yeah, because we left. We left them with, there was marauders that approached them. And I'm even questioning who the marauders are. These people that are just out there in the wilderness of Peridia that had already attacked.
They're Boken.
Sabine. Yeah, they're Boken marauders. But because the red suits that they wear are kind of similar to, they reminded me a little bit of like the Imperial Guards.
A little bit.
Just had similar, but they also, the red, it was very similar to what the Nightsisters wear. So it's like, are they tied together somehow? Are these somehow beings that are maybe cast-offs?
And are they Force sensitive?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was very interested. I mean, they got taken out pretty
I was going to say by Sabine.
Easy by Sabine, so it didn't appear so, but we got left off because it says the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, and as Hugh Yang says, Sabine ain't nothing. He's like,
she's not great with the Force,
dude. So funny. In episode, was it 3? I believe 3 or 4, where like he basically it was a second episode where she's in the hospital. She's like in hospice. She's healing from getting stabbed by Shin Batty.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep calling her Shin Batty. And he's like, he basically says in a roundabout way, "Yeah, you're the least Force sensitive Padawan I've ever seen in my.
You don't have a great Force
existence."
aptitude.
Yeah." He's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're -5.
He did say
So
that.
great. It's like, the fact that he keeps roasting her is just because it's just funny.
How straightforward.
Yeah, it's just how blunt he is. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I kind of hope she doesn't get the Force just because I don't know. It's cool when you do stuff like this where the character doesn't always reach what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a nice because it's kind of obvious if she does, where it's like, okay, that makes it. Plus, they're kind of setting up to where Jason is clearly super Force sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd rather them go that route because you don't need Jason, Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine to all be Jedi.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, plus she's a Mandalorian. I love Mandalorians. They rival Jedis for me. So it's like, just make her a badass Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Although there was that moment in the episode where she's sitting, I think it was when she was on the ship, talking about Sabine, and she whispers Ahsoka's name.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
That's right before Thrawn arrived.
Yeah. It was
She was
right
in
before
the cell.
Right. It was right before that, or when they arrived in the thing. And it was like we were seeing the other end of when Ahsoka woke up from when she fell in the water.
It's possible.
And after her interactions, the world between with Anakin in the world between worlds, she hears a female voice whisper her name, and so it was almost as if they were showing us the other side of that. So, but my point is that's a connection to the Force. That's displaying a connection to the Force.
I mean, Hera heard the lightsabers, as well when her son is like, listen.
Does she somehow inherit some sort of connection to the Force because of her relationship with Kanan and now her son?
She literally had a Force sensitive child grow within her.
Force sensitive child. So somehow, the midichlorians bit, it somehow got into her. So she has some sort of level of Force sensitivity because of it.
But another thing Dave Filoni made known is in episode 2, Ahsoka says to Sabine when training her, it's like everyone has the Force.
Yeah.
It's basically, I mean, Lucas has said that before. It's basically like anyone can know martial arts. It's just a matter of some people are better at it. Can you tune it? Some people are just have a higher, like anyone can play baseball. It's just like some people are more adept to being better at it than other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like the whole, we are all connected in the great circle of life.
Can I tell you something? When I got older watching Lion King, and I realized what Mufasa was really saying is like they die and they turn into the soil and blah blah. It's like, oh, like because like you're like eating them and you're like pooping them out and then they're like fertilizer and then it's like, oh, it's a circle. It's like it's
someday you are going to be eaten,
but like
by another creature.
Yeah, but when I was older, I'm like, dude, Mufasa's telling Simba like about cannibalism. Like that's kind of weird.
Something to look forward to, son.
You're gonna be eaten one day, son. Whether you're alive.
One day, you will be an animal's feces.
We turn to dust. It's a circle of life. Did my voice crack enough just then?
Not nearly. You've been awfully musical the last few weeks.
Opening
the show with songs.
Music is what makes the world go round.
Is it?
I
thought it was Coke.
A cola?
Do you remember that commercial? That's a deep cut.
No, I don't.
No?
I thought you were talking about the drug at first.
No.
I decided to go more PG with it.
Whoa.
No.
Wow. No, I was not referencing.
You snort Coke?
That Coke.
Are you confessing? You're illegal drug substance
I have
using?
already said that anything that I am currently on is over the counter.
You've heard it here, guys. Tim snorts Coke.
Which displays
I got a question.
What a lightweight I am.
Where do you get your Coke?
Walgreens.
The guy behind the building in the alley?
Hank.
Good old Hank. Let him cook. Let him cook.
But I'm very glad because, I was pretty vocal. The first few episodes were very slow. I still think at times it's slow.
Tim, you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith.
The pacing is still not always great, but the story is very good. It's improved for sure.
I'll tell you what,
as the episode's gone on,
this season is easily rivaling the first 2 Mando seasons for me.
I guess that's fair. It's in the same world
for sure.
But I mean, without question, as far as like some of the additions to Star Wars.
I think the 3 will be now.
The last 2 episodes have been.
There's going to be a trinity now because I think everyone's going to agree with this. You got Mando, Ahsoka, and Andor. Those are the 3 Disney Plus Star Wars shows.
Without question,
those are them.
I mean,
the fact that Obi-Wan and Boba Fett are not on that list makes me so angry because they totally should have been.
Obi-Wan alone. I mean, Boba Fett, it's like, yes, definitely. But Obi-Wan, there's just no excuse. I have nothing for that one. no excuse.
Is that what this is about?
That's what this is about.
You get it? Because that's what Anakin said to Ahsoka in episode 5.
God. Yeah. But I think for me, episode 6 was the most complete episode of the entire series so far. Episode 5 had
the coolest episode, for sure.
Well, everything between Anakin and Ahsoka was fantastic.
It was literally so many of our childhoods brought to life live. The fact that, this is the last thing I'll say. The fact that Hayden Christensen played like 3 different versions of himself.
Right.
He played his Anakin from the prequels. He played Clone Wars Anakin and Darth Vader.
Pretty wild.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
And the amount that Filoni did with that to bring closure, to put, really complete Ahsoka's training and to make her a master Jedi, to do so many different things was next level cool as a Star Wars fan. But it was only a little more than half the episode. This episode, I think, episode 6 was the most complete so far. And I'm hoping that we just keep on this trajectory and episode 7 and 8 close things out with like,
Balin is a Jedi. As such, he is flawed.
Dude. There's so many great lines. Even Thrawn's first line when he walks up and he says, what was once a dream, or something like that has now become like a nightmare for those who oppose us or something to that effect.
That's all Filoni. He wrote the whole series.
Like, dude, there was some really good stuff throughout.
In short, Tim, I don't
know if you can say in short at this point.
We're gonna, because we can do what we want. In short, we love Ahsoka.
Yes.
Or you what? I love Ahsoka.
I'm still kind of like, because the first 3 episodes they were kind of slow.
But it was
a ramp up.
It was slow.
But it has gotten, I will say it has gotten much, much better.
I will say that
fun watching it.
There is a lot of pacing issues, but as far as some of the other complaints with Ahsoka's personality and stuff like that, that was, as we see now, that was all very intentional. She was Ahsoka the Gray. Now she's Ahsoka the White. Yeah.
I just think it could have been done better. Still. I still think that it was way too drawn out. I think it was way too slow.
Filoni, you hear him talking crap?
Yeah.
You hear him talking crap, Dave? He's talking crap. He's calling you out.
I love you, Dave. But I stand by it. But yeah, it's really gotten good. And the Star Wars fan service and the tie-ins and everything has just been next level the last couple of episodes. So I'm here for it.
Yep. But I guess that wraps today's podcast up.
Let's closes the door. Let's wrap this puppy up and send it off to the next week,
where we talk more Ahsoka.
Yeah, and probably something else. We just don't know what yet.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, we have some creators lined up we're gonna be talking to here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, and we may or may not be heading off to New York Comic-Con. We don't know. We're solidifying all that. We got some stuff, announcements going there. We also got some other big announcements for Variant. We've been telling you guys we have announcements that will be trickling in throughout the year of things that we've been working on for a long time. So, keep your ear to the ground, gang. Can you still? Is that a thing? Do people say that? No. That's probably ended in the 1940s.
Probably did.
Probably so.
All right. We'll see you next time. We talk about all things comics.